Yeah, he's like doing a bit like a wave of the arms as he gets up, and then he like, oh no, I'm gonna go back, and he reaches back over and like gives everything a little pat.
Basically, this is the timeline of events. We got March 1st. The NBA sent out a league-wide memo to say, don't touch any jerseys, pens, markers, anything you can sign as like an autograph, don't touch it. March 8th, the NBA pulls any sort of scouts that they have for like NCAA tournaments or any sort of road trip stuff. They pull those scouts. Then March 9th. So the Utah Jazz is set to play the Raptors that night. And before the game, head coach Quinn Snyder and Rudy Gobert meet the media to discuss how they're handling COVID, what precautions they're taking, are they like addressing the seriousness of it. And at the end of the press conference, Rudy Gobert, as a joke, touches every single microphone sitting in front of him. That night, the Jazz lose to the Raptors 101-92, and unknowingly, that would be the last game that they would play before the league decides to shut down. 2 days later, March 11th, the official Twitter account for the Jazz tweets out that Gobert is questionable for the game that evening, and then he's later ruled out. Then he's questionable again, but then he's finally ruled out. They're testing him for like strep throat, the flu, couple other viruses, and then finally they test him for COVID as a precaution, even though they don't think he actually has it. At 6 p.m., when the game's supposed to start, it's announced that the game's delayed, and then it's announced that it is canceled for the night and will be postponed to a later day. An hour later, it's announced that Gobert has tested positive for coronavirus, becoming the first major American athlete and American celebrity to contract the virus in the United States. Exactly 4 minutes after it's announced that Gobert tested positive, it's announced that the NBA has decided to suspend the season for 30 days. So that is the timeline. We are going to talk all things Rudy Gobert, his stupidness. With me, I have Michael, other Michael, and Tommy. How's it going, guys?
Hi, Cassie.
Oh, it's going well.
I'm excited to talk about Rudy Gobert.
Yeah, let's do it. So first off, do you guys remember this happening? What were kind of your initial reactions when you heard about this?
I remember it was like the end of the season. I was watching the games. I forget which game it was. That was like that one of the ones that got shut down like while they were playing. The commentators were like aware that the season's over now. Like Rudy Gobert tested positive and we're all screwed. Because to that point, you didn't really know anybody who had COVID, and you sort of like knew, oh shoot, like there's 50 cases in this one place in this one state. That's pretty wild. I hope this doesn't go anywhere worse.
My room also, and like my friend just texted me. I wasn't watching or anything. My friend texted me saying, "Hey, the NBA is like shutting down for the season." And I thought, wow, that seems like a pretty overreaction. Little did I know, everything else was shut down immediately after, and Rudy Gobert essentially just brought down the entire country of America.
All I remember from that day was that was the day my place of work announced that they would be shutting down their office, like before the NBA shut down on March 13th. So all of like my coworkers went out to a bar. So I was pretty drunk when when it all happened. And that was, be the last time I went to a bar for, who knows how long.
But that night you couldn't really tell that the whole world was going to the whole country was going to shut down for a year. You could tell that Rudy Gobert looked like a fucking idiot.
So this was his response. I'll just read it to you guys.
Okay, yeah, let's pull up this statement.
I want to thank everyone for the outpouring of concern and support over the last 24 hours. I've gone through so many emotions since learning of my diagnosis, mostly fear, anxiety, and embarrassment. The first and most important thing is I would like to publicly apologize to the people I've may have endangered. At the time, I had no idea I was infected. I was careless and make no excuse. I hope my story serves as a warning and causes everyone to take this seriously. I will do whatever I can to support using my experience as a way to educate others and prevent the spread of the virus. I am under great care and will fully recover. Thank you again for your support. I encourage everyone to take all the steps to stay safe and healthy. Love.
Rudy easily could have said, "Oh, my case wasn't that bad, so let's reopen the economy," but he didn't say that.
Do you guys think that if you're 7 feet tall, you're more likely to transmit the virus to other people, or less likely?
You're above the
Yeah.
average.
Like,
Does the virus rise or fall?
Well, it most likely be your breath, which is heat.
Yeah.
Heat rises.
Heat.
so-
No, viri falls though.
Virize?
Another thing I want you guys to react to is Stephen A. Smith's reaction. React to his reaction.
Yeah, let's take a moment of silence to listen to the words of the prophet.
But there's no escaping his immaturity, the insensitivity that he displayed, and it was inexcusable. And the reason why it's inexcusable, when you're playing around and you're not doing harm to anybody else, okay, that's fine. But there were people, even though he didn't take it seriously, there were people inside that locker room who were taking it seriously. So we see cameras showing him touch people's microphones, tape recorders, stuff like that. What we don't see is what Woj reported yesterday, Max, that he then went into his own locker room and started touching other people's stuff and playing around with them, because his belief was it's nothing serious, and the belief was that other people on the Utah Jazz were overreacting.
I think it's interesting that Stephen A. says not only was he touching the microphones, but touching other people's stuff in the locker rooms. Like, that's kind of taking it past a joke, and that's like, I don't know, that's like intentionally.
It's like really depressing that like the kinds of opinions that we need to measure guys like Stephen A. and Max for are about fucking disease control. Like, I wish we could just talk about sports.
Are you telling them to shut up and dribble, Henny? Is that what's going on?
And he's the real bad guy in this story.
So they're making a little featured doc. It's called The Man in the Middle, the Rudy Gobert story.
Let's give it to Utah Jazz. Rudy Gobert with an illness is out.
A few seconds later, I get the call.
The game tonight has been postponed.
Rudy Gobert has tested positive.
A lot of people had something to say about the mic touching.
Oh my! Where did he come from?
Rudy Gobert from Saint-Quentin, France.
Don't do me like that!
Has it sunk into you, your place in this history?
That one line that she said where it's like, has it sunk into you, your place in this history? Like, I do wonder if like 20, like 40 years from now, we're like talking to like our kids about like, oh, where were we during the pandemic? We're gonna be like, yeah, like, remember when this one basketball player just rubbed all the microphones?
I think it's weird how like it's a 37-second trailer and they dedicate parts of it to like showing Rudy Gobert highlights and like pictures of Rudy Gobert as a kid and like pictures of him playing youth basketball.
I mean, I'll just say this, like, I'll reiterate this point. Like, obviously, Rudy Gobert acted like an a-hole. And, I mean, I guess it's good that he apologized, and it seems legitimately, like, pensive about his actions.
I think that in terms of press conferences, this is definitely one of the more interesting ones from last season. And I think that trying to spread deadly respiratory illness to media members, I think that's the future of sports journalism. I like to commend Rudy for being such a visionary. Like we said before, true hero. He's the hero in this story, and nobody should say anything bad about him for the rest of the time. Induct him into the Hall of Fame.